Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA, Dawson here. And here we are with NFL recap of week number 7. Pretty good week, a lot of bye weeks this week, or a lot of buys, I should say, not bye weeks. There's only one bye week this week. 6 teams were on bye this week, so we only had 13 games with some varying quality. Actually, I think there's a lot of enjoyable ones, a lot of not enjoyable ones, but overall, this is a forewarner, this is probably one of the weeks I've watched the least amount of live football. Just this week, it just felt like a more recovery week for me. I did catch up bits and pieces, saw some highlights, definitely kept track on the little game tracker. But I just wasn't really feeling football watching, but I did catch some in between and definitely heard about some as well. As caught the highlights, looked at the stats, looked at the play calls for some of these things. But there's a couple notable games that I can't really comment as much as I would like to, so I'm going to kind of roll with the flow in those and let you know. But one of those games I actually did watch a little bit of was Jags and Saints. Actually a really good game from both teams, pretty solid. I mean, Saints probably looked better on offense than the Jags, but the Jags defense did kind of come up a little bit. Trevor Lawrence looked solid, just putting up solid numbers. Travis Etienne didn't have as much of a game this game, but he did do fine. 14 rushes, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns though. So I mean, take that as you can get. The goal line carries were there. Christian Kirk again is still continuing to be number 1 option there. Calvin Ridley had no game. Evan Ingram involved a little bit. Otherwise, like I said, the numbers aren't impressive too much for the Jags, but they actually did pretty well against the Saints. It kind of held them at least a little bit because they made Derek Carr pass a lot, really killing the run game. Anything they can get going from here. So take that as you will. Derek Carr did look really good though, and the run game again was stalled a little bit. Mostly Alvin Kamara got into the reception game with 12 receptions this week. He's a reception monster. Outside of that, kind of quiet, but I mean still something. Saints defense kind of was a little bit lacking, secondary especially. They're a little bit better than that, but still a fun game, and Jacksonville took the victory. Moving to the next one, a little disappointing game from the looks of it and from the stats and everything I've seen. This one I didn't catch a whole lot of, but Desmond Ridder looks like he did fine. The rushing game, again, I do know there's like a big controversy with Bijan, I think, with him not really being cleared before and no one really stating, whatever. I didn't really catch much of that. I don't have Bijan in any league, so I really didn't catch much of that. But apparently there's a big controversy with Bijan Robinson and the call that was made that week. So sucks to suck, I guess, unfortunately for that. So that's kind of a shrug moment there. Otherwise, I mean, Falcons looked fine. Nothing really got going. Falcons defense probably did the most of this whole game. Baker looked fine. The run game looked receiving, looks like Mike Evans still the main option there. Outside of that, Chris Godwin is still getting plenty of options. Rashad White actually got involved in the receiving game, which is nice to see. Actually, he's at 8 receptions, no 6. And it looks like the Buccaneers defense really didn't do much. Granted, it wasn't really much of a touchdown battle, which is a good notable reason why I didn't watch really much of this. The little bit I did watch was mostly like Falcons defense doing really good against the Bucs. So that's really the notable story I have from that. But Falcons took the win. Buccaneers showing maybe they don't really, can't win against these teams as well as we thought they could. So we'll see how the Buccaneers kind of recover next week. A game I unfortunately actually did go back and probably watch not the most, but like some of the most, going back and watching it, which is just because I want to see how the score happened. Raiders at Bears. Whatever's happening with the Raiders offense with Jimmy G out, whatever exists. The run game, obviously they were behind for most of the game, it felt like. Jacoby Myers honestly got more looks than Devontae Adams. I don't know if that's actually true, but it felt like it. Outside of that, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Defensively, the Raiders sucked. The Raiders sucked defensively this game, which they have a decent defense, actually. Not decent, but like they have a fine defense. Nathan Peterman, I don't know why he's here. I don't remember seeing him at all. Was he even a snap? But whoever Tyson Bagnet is, might look better than Justin Fields at times. No, not really, but like, he did fine. He did suitable, played safe, really safe passer in that regard. Definitely different from Justin Fields in a lot of ways. Deontay Foreman was really the carrier here, really doing really well against a Raiders defensive line, which was struggling. DJ Moore got a little bit of looks, but not too many. Otherwise, kind of quiet. Deontay Foreman did have a breakout game, though, with also a reception for a touchdown as well. Defensively, the Bears look fine. They did what they needed to do. I won't say they look great. It's more so the Raiders look bad. So fun game here. It looks like the Bears maybe aren't the worst team ever. Maybe the Raiders are actually the worst team, which is good for me to see. I like seeing the Raiders being bad. Otherwise, not too much to talk about there. Also, a game I actually did catch a little bit back of, and actually in the moment too. So I heard Deshaun Watson was actually on the field again, and I wasn't expecting that. So I tuned in, and I think by the time I tuned in, PJ Walker was already back on the field or something. I forgot exactly how it went. But whatever. They both did whatever, but it's really mostly on the ground game that really did anything. Kareem Hunt continues to be a monster. Jerome Ford did really well. And I say a monster, but he's just ripping off these random goal line carries that Jerome Ford just can't get. So sucks there. Pierre Strong is getting a little bit of love too, but mostly Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. Those two are actually kind of rocking it with the goal line carries and just overall carries in general. I'm actually curious what the long is for both these runners here. So either way, the Browns actually really were carried by their defense, which did really well. The stats don't necessarily show. A couple sacks here, I think an interception or two. Really doesn't show how well the Browns actually really looked on defense. Granted, I say that with the Colts putting up 38 points, because Colts actually looked really good on offense too. 15 for 23, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Gardner Minshew looked good. He's fluctuating back and forth between good and bad, and this is a good game. They just end up with a loss here. Jonathan Taylor is finally kind of getting those reps now. They're officially splitting, but Jonathan Taylor more than likely next week will get most of the reps, especially the receiving love, which he's gotten 3 receptions for multiple yards. Josh Downs came and actually did something. Michael Pittman Jr. still involved in the passing game as well. Defensively, obviously, I don't think the Colts really did as much. It just felt, even though it's 39-38, it really felt like the Browns had that in control the whole time. It felt like they were just easily kind of going the whole time from the things I've watched. It felt like the Colts always were kind of playing catch up in a way. I shouldn't say that because, I mean, I don't know if the Colts were ahead a decent amount of times there, but the Browns just felt like they always had in control. It never felt like the Browns were worrying too much. Even though it was a 1-point game, it just felt weird to the point of Browns felt in control. Colts made some sloppy mistakes on defense especially, and Browns capitalized and are still carrying that momentum from their 49ers victory. So, I mean, maybe they're not, kind of fake team. A game I did not catch at all, and I'm not sad about at all. The Commanders at Giants. Again, I did catch a little bit of the stat lines and did watch some of the highlights. This one I really didn't at all. These are pathetic offensive stats for Commanders. I did look over all of this too because I made my power rankings as well. This looks pitiful. Like, Commanders, like, defensively, I guess they got 4 sacks. That's all it seems like it kind of happened. Meanwhile, here on the Giants, it doesn't look much better, but Tyrod Taylor actually did something. A lot of backups this week, too. I didn't even realize. Saquon looked okay, I guess. Darren Waller got a touchdown. That's cool. Saquon got another touchdown, or a receiving touchdown, I should say. Defensively, I mean, I guess the Giants did pretty well, it looks like. I mean, sure. I really don't know much here, but Giants got the victory. They're 2-5 now. Commanders, a lot of people were saying, oh, this is obviously a game where the Commanders are going to win. They're a better team. It's always the Commanders who will win games they absolutely have no business winning and then drop a random game like the Giants. It's just the Commanders' way of living, and I have no idea how you even predict it. I don't even know what the Commanders are going to do next week. I don't know who they're facing next week. Giants, I'm still holding out a little bit of hope for them. I'll be honest with you. I think the Giants are much better than people are giving them credit for. I don't think they're a bottom 5 team. I think there are some arguments being made for a bottom 10 team. But I think they're still in that cusp. I think I have them somewhere a little bit in the second half. I don't want to spoil anything from my power rankings, but they're not like an awful team. I don't think they are. They play better than people give them credit for. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say they play better. They play a lot of hard teams, is what I'm trying to say. Is that they're playing a lot of hard teams, and they need to get some of these more mid-tier teams out of the way. Because they did start at 8 for me in the power rankings because they made it to the playoffs. They looked good. They had a not historic run, but like a really good run for them in recent history. I'm not yet giving up on the Giants. They have a lot of more mid-tier team games, which are more winnable games. I feel like they just kind of spiraled out of control with some snowball games. So we'll see how the Giants turn out. But either way, we're moving on to the Lions at Ravens. Moly moly. I watched the highlights of the game. It was just Lamar Jackson highlights completely. I didn't even catch this game. I think randomly I tuned in halftime, and it was like 24-0 or something. Complete shutout. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Or 28-0. That's what it was. 28-0 or something. The Ravens were destroying the Lions. I was like, what the heck's happening? And Jared Goff, I mean, He's a fine numbers. Rushing was not there because obviously they were behind the whole freaking game. Mon St. Brown was still doing a Mon St. Brown, but outside of that, people were trying to do something. But like defensively, the Lions were just sucking so bad. Lamar Jackson had a field day with them. 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. This was like MVP Lamar Jackson. That's what the Lions made them look like. And I'm not gonna just bash on the Lions and say I give up on them. But they took a step back from me in this game because like, I know they faced off the Chiefs before, but like the Ravens were like another matchup. I thought, okay, they have to at least prove themselves. I didn't necessarily think they were gonna, win. I did predict them winning because I thought the Ravens were kind of on a downhill spiral, but I'm wrong. Ravens look a lot better than I give them credit for. And the Lions just really did not take the advantage here and just didn't show this to be a competitive game at all. It just looked awful. I would hate to be watching this game if you were a Lions fan. I would hate it. So, either way, outside of that, the Ravens, it wasn't really rushing outside of anybody but Lamar. And even then, Lamar only got 36 yards and a touchdown. I mean, receiving, Gus Edwards got a big 80-yard bomb. How the heck does Gus Edwards do that, I guess? Mark Andrews, of course, continues to be a really main target there. Zay Flowers also got a lot of love. He got his flowers, if you'd say. And defensively, the Ravens did fine. I mean, they pressured them enough, but like these aren't unusual numbers. I wouldn't say like, oh, I guess it's 5 sacks. Like that's above average defensive numbers that maybe quell, but like you would think that this numbers wouldn't make 6 points versus 38. It's just that the defense of the Lions absolutely sold this game and ripped off Lions fans. I don't know, 5-2, still not a bad record, but like man, they gotta prove something. I don't know who they're playing next, but they gotta prove something against some good teams here soon. Otherwise, I don't know. A game I did, honestly, I tuned in a little bit at some random points and kind of watched it just because of Josh Allen on fantasy. And then it just made me depressed after the first half. And then I heard they came back and actually did a lot and went from 2 points to 31 or something in my fantasy, which I was very thankful for. But, like, this game was pitiful for the Bills. Like, it's a divisional game. Patriots are sneaky. I think Patriots are overhated. I'm going to say that right now. I think Patriots are overhated. The record, of course, shows that they're a bad team. I think the coaching scheme's still there. The offense, they're not just getting cooked by the defense, which the Bills' defense really didn't do much this game with them. And the Patriots' defense is honestly, again, a little bit underrated. Their secondary is suffering a little bit now, but the defensive line's starting to step up quite a bit. Looking at the stats here, I mean, again, really, there was no run game for any of these games this week, it looks like. But Dalton Kincaid, Stephon Diggs, James Cook, a lot of love in the receiving game, not doing anything bad. And yeah, like, they had a sack. That's about it. Wait, I thought I saw another sack. No, never mind. Like, the Bills did nothing against the Patriots' defense, or the offense, and I just don't know what to do. Mac Jones looked really good this game. Straight to the point, he didn't feel like he was pressured. They didn't have a run game, sure. I mean, they got some goal. They got Zeke touchdown, sure. But, like, Mac just looked calm. Like, he looked good, and the Bills' defense took forever to get to him. He didn't look like he was worried. He only completed 5 passes, which is crazy. He did give a lot of love to everybody. Kendrick Bourne continues to be a really good option for him. Otherwise, defensively, I mean, I don't want to say the Patriots' defense is amazing, but they did enough to quell the Bills, which against a good, high-powered offense, especially in the first half, they really killed it. Actually, I wonder how many points they scored in the first half, because I don't even remember on the top of my head. So it was basically 13-3. That makes sense. But damn, I didn't realize the Patriots scored 13 points, or 30 and 13 points in the second half, which is they played consistent, which is really cool to see. Either way, it's a worrisome thing for me and the Bills. I think the Bills, it's a division rival, so I'm being a little bit more easygoing about that. But Patriots look good there. I'm not going to give them too much credit, but like they deserve a little bit of flour there. Again, I think they're a little overhated. Game I didn't catch at all. I'll be honest with you. I did look at a little bit of highlights, but like it didn't look like I missed much in terms of stats when I was looking over earlier. Nothing on the like I got nothing for Arizona here. Like sure they looked good on the defense. It looked like I guess they did fine on defense. I mean, it was a low-scoring game, so obviously they did. Kenneth Walker probably was one of the best runners this week. Geno Smith looked fine. He did good. Jackson Smith Njigba got a lot of love. Outside of that, DK didn't play. I didn't think he would play, but defensively, the Seahawks looked good. That's probably the highlight, it seemed like. I think they got like 4 sacks, if I'm counting right. 2.5, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 sacks. No picks. It was just a very whatever game. Seahawks did what they needed to do and got the win. Cardinals continue to look not very good. They really have take a step down since their promising early start. Meanwhile, a game actually did catch a little bit of the Steelers and the Rams. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers offense looked good. I liked it. They played consistently good football. Again, the run game, but Kenny Pickett played fine. Again, George Pickens actually was really popular this game. Deontay Johnson got a little bit of love now that he's back fully in the swing of things. Defense of the Steelers did good. I'm not going to quell on them, but their offense really helped step up and make sure they stayed in the game. And again, the Steelers defense obviously did too. But like I'm just saying, like the Steelers defense usually looks really good, but they just look like they're good. And then the Steelers offense actually picked it up a little bit and they look good too. Granted, Matthew Stafford did not look his best this game. I will say that. Rushing, nobody really did much in the rushing game, but like sure they got some. I only know these names. Darrell Henderson, I feel like I knew a little bit, but outside of that, don't know really anybody. Puka got a lot of love this game, though, I'll tell you that. People are really split between Puka and Cooper Kupp right now because Puka got a ton of love. What was that, 19.4 points for people in half PPR? What's called 23.4 points for people who are in PPR. Crazy stuff here. Outside of that, nobody was really in the receiving game. Matthew Stafford was just going Puka pretty much this whole time. Defensively, the Rams they look fine, I guess. Didn't look anything notable, but I like seeing the Steelers do well. That was a really good, promising thing for me to see. Meanwhile, game again, I caught a little bit of actually just because it's a divisional rival, and I thought this was going to be a very good game, which it was. I thought it was very exciting. And granted, I will say, I never felt the Chargers were out of it until basically the fourth quarter. So whatever there. Justin Herbert didn't look amazing though. He looked good on the field, but I guess the stats really didn't translate. I guess they really did go for I don't know. Maybe too aggressive, maybe is the right word. Joshua Kelly apparently got more involved this game and really utilized his carries. Apparently with Austin Eckler back, he's actually good. All fantasy owners, I still own him, so I still held on some hope. So I guess he's good again. Joshua Palmer got a lot of love, even more than Keenan Allen. Gerald Everett found the end zone once, so that was pretty cool. Defensively, the Chargers did they're fine. They did Charger stuff. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes had one of his best games, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, interception. Pretty dang good game from Patrick Mahomes. He looked really good. I mean, I know this is probably one of the best games that Patrick Mahomes has had. And I'm not going to say about the rest of the offense or the defense or anything. But Ben told me that he thinks that this team is better than the previous year's team, and I'm struggling with that thought because they're 6-1, but they've had some messy games, and Patrick Mahomes especially hasn't looked that amazing. He's put up the numbers, yeah, sure, but I don't know, for some reason he hasn't looked that good, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. Maybe I'm just a Chiefs hater too. I think the Chiefs are fine. I like them enough. They haven't got to the irritation point. If they win another Super Bowl, maybe they will. But Patrick Mahomes looked really good this game. 100% looked like MVP caliber Patrick Mahomes, and I think he deserves to have the flowers for that. I really do. And I don't know if they're better than the last year's team. I really don't. I don't know. They're pretty close, but I don't know if they look better or worse than last year's at this point. I think earlier I would have said worse, but I think this game kind of showcased even the defense stepped up a lot. The running game was nearly nothing here. Travis Kelce continues to be the guy, but everybody got a lot of love. Actually, I didn't realize MVS got a touchdown. Rashee Rice, of course, I knew got a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco got a touchdown there in the air. Defensively, I mean, they put good numbers, 2 interceptions too, and they looked even better on the field getting stops. And the Chiefs just looked really good. I think the Chiefs have proven from their first loss now that they're kind of getting momentum going. I wonder who's going to be the team that stops them. The Chiefs feel like a weird team. They feel easily beatable, but never get beaten. I don't know. It's a strange situation to be in. But, I don't know. It's interesting at the very least. And meanwhile, yeah, okay. This game I caught that much of just because I saw it's on tune in every now and then. It was pretty close throughout the whole game. The Broncos, I guess, got a little bit of a lead, but Packers quickly picked it back up in the second half, especially. Jordan Love's not looked great. He hasn't looked that amazing in a hot minute. He's looked more on the average to below average side of things. Nobody got really much receiving, not much rushing, of course. Again, Packers defense really wasn't doing a whole lot. And, I mean, the Broncos are the same story. I think they play more consistent. The run game was better than the Packers. That's just straight into the point what it was. They played more consistently, and the run game was more established. Everybody got a little bit of love here. And defensively, they looked They looked step up from the last couple weeks, I guess. But, it's not saying much, especially with this. I mean, secondary continues to be the strongest point of the Broncos. I don't know what to say. This game was fine. I watched the highlights after. It really wasn't much. I mean, it's just straight to the point what it was. It looked fine. I wouldn't want to watch this game. I'm kind of on the down and down in terms of watching the Broncos games just because I don't want to get disappointed. I don't have any hope right now for them. They look fine. I think they offensively look fine. Defensively, they need to step up. Packers, they're taking a bit of step down. I think they had a really strong start to the season and now just kind of continue to dwindle down. So either way, the Dolphins at Eagles actually was a fun game too. Did watch this one. Actually, this was these next two games I actually did watch quite a bit of. One of them, the next game in the gym, but beside the point. This was a fun game. It felt really, really close for a little bit. I think people are shitting on the Dolphins a little too much. Second half, they definitely kind of blew it. But, I mean, the Eagles really just solidified their win with one more touchdown at the end. I mean, it was a one-score game up until that last touchdown, which the Eagles at that point pretty much have won, but, kind of not. But Tua looked fine. It was a step up from the Dolphins-Bills game, 100%. They look better, but still not in that caliber of maybe where they should look as hardcore big teams they should face. Tua looked fine. Receiving was kind of weak overall with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle not getting the numbers people usually expect. Defensively, they look like they put up good numbers. I guess 3 sacks is not like good numbers, but the defense of the Dolphins is really what's holding them back from anything great. Jalen Hurts had a step-up game again. DeAndre Swift did fine. Jalen Hurts, of course, got let's call it quarterback sneak or whatever, the brotherly push or whatever, brotherly shove. Kenneth Gainwell got a goal line carry. A.J. Brown had a freaking career game, 137 yards, 1 touchdown, really good. Congratulations to every A.J. Brown owner. Outside of that, defensively, the Eagles looked good. They actually were able to stop the Dolphins' Dolphins' offense, which we've seen from the Bills. We've now seen from the Eagles. I guess similar teams of similar defenses, like the Chiefs, are able to do that as well. Maybe the 49ers, maybe the Cowboys defense are able to quell them to some lesser points, maybe sub 21, sub 24, somewhere around there. Which is what you need to do to beat the Dolphins, because defensively they're not bad. They're just weak. They're weaker than a lot of those top tier teams on defense. And while they may have the best offense in the whole league, and I would probably still stand on that, the Dolphins probably still have the best offense. Their defense is going to sell a lot of these games, and I don't know. It's really hard to see where the Dolphins are going to be. They've beaten a lot of bad teams or mid-tier teams really big, but they haven't really won a big notable game yet, and the Dolphins need to keep that in mind. Eagles are just consistently good. I mean, they had an off week last week, of course, but I think that they are probably still one of the most dominant teams in the league, and they're going to carry that momentum forward. Simple and to the point. Jalen Hurts has had a step down year so far, but he's getting momentum back. He's getting back in the feelings of things, and this is an important game for him. And a fun game, too. I want to note that. As well as the Vikings-49ers. It was less fun than the Eagles-Dolphins game, just because I wanted the Niners to win. I actually like Niners quite a bit. But it's fine. Brock Purdy, I think, is starting to kind of maybe show some of his lower end points. I think there's a middle ground between him doing really good and really bad, which I think this is a little bit closer. Maybe if this is one pick, I'd say this is about what we can expect from Brock Purdy moving forward on a average. CMC didn't look great, but obviously I didn't expect him to play it at all, to be honest with you. The fact that he played was really good. I mean, he got his touchdown for the game, so give him that credit. Outside of that, they're still using the weapons. The offense still looked really good, really high powered. Defensively, the 49ers took a step back. I mean, the Vikings have a really hard offense to guard, granted, but Kirk Cousins looked good today. Kirk Cousins made this game fun. The run game again was really nothing. Cam Akers did get more carries though, which is notable. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kirk Cousins looked great. Honestly, it almost seems like maybe the Vikings got too reliant on Justin Jefferson. Not just obviously having Justin Jefferson is going to help your team, but now that they're focusing on Jordan Addison and maybe a little bit more T.J. Hawkinson and kind of spreading the ball around a little bit more like K.J. Osborne and more of the chuck downs like Cam Akers style, it might be more beneficial that they're kind of getting used to it, not Justin Jefferson offense. And Justin Jefferson, I'm sure, will come back in 4 or 5 weeks. I forgot the exact timeline, but he's going to be back this season. And maybe when he comes back, maybe it'll be a more balanced offense for him to come back to. And Kirk Cousins can utilize Justin Jefferson in the really important games where he can get those 100-yard games. But Jordan Addison can then also supplement that a little bit. It's more sustainable this way, it feels like. And against the good 49ers defense. Granted, the 49ers defense didn't play good this game, but the Vikings really killed it. I mean, the defense of the Vikings did fine. I'm not going to say much about them. Cameron Bynum got 2 picks, so that was kind of cool. But other than that, I mean, they did fine. They did what they needed to do to get the win. And again, a pretty fun game. I wouldn't say this game of the week or anything, but Minnesota Vikings now coming up and up. They're showing what they can be. And 49ers are kind of taking a step down there. They're showing some weaknesses that we previously haven't seen. I told myself, hey, they're 5-0 at that point. They lost a game. I was like, they're still top team. Like this, you can get a buffer. Like I feel like the top team at that 49ers looked so good they deserved a buffer. But this loss kind of brought them down to earth, and whether they're first or third or fifth or seventh or second, I'm not too sure exactly where they necessarily will rank there. Go see my power rankings if you haven't. Well, granted, it'll be released later this week. They're somewhere in that top tier still until they keep on spiraling out of control. Simple and to the point. But this was a fun game. As you see, it's yesterday because I am recording this at like very late at night because I'm still kind of getting my energy out. But overall, a fun-ish week. A lot of up and down turmoil things here with the NFL season. Still exciting though. I really enjoy this. We're going into week 8, which is actually really nerve-wracking because I'm like, we're almost halfway through the season. That's kind of crazy. But either way, I've enjoyed this week. I've enjoyed this week of football. Enjoyed this channel, and I enjoy you guys. Hopefully, y'all can tune in to the rest of the week. We have a lot of cool things. I did my parlay video yesterday. Go check that out. Probably tomorrow. I'm trying to think what will be released tomorrow. Probably my quarterly review. The last quarterly review will be released tomorrow. Somewhere on Wednesday, we'll be releasing the power rankings or the predictions. Probably predictions, and then power rankings will be released later this week. And eventually some quizzes. And so go enjoy some of the content we already have on the channel. Up to 36 videos, 37 videos or something at this point. Go enjoy the content we already have, but also stay tuned for all the great content and great series that we have going. Also going to continue recording the series that I'm trying to get done pretty soon tonight, so stay tuned for that, which should probably be released probably by next week. I'm going to kind of aim for by next Monday, the Monday upload maybe. Either way, thank you guys for watching. StraightA Dawson, out.